What is going on, Raiders? Soda Dragon here, and today I'm showing you a trick on how to roll better speed substats on your gear. Now, the strategy is not illegal, it's not a hack, it's basically something that a lot of you endgame players might know, but many people, especially early game players, may not know. So that's why I'm getting this out there, just in case there are people out there who don't know about this strategy. So for those of you new to the game, speed is one of the most important stats in this game. Not only does it determine turn order, but turn frequency. For many games out there, speed only determines the initial order of who takes their turns. It actually doesn't determine the frequency, because in some games, champions are not allowed to lap other champions. That is, they're not allowed to take more turns than their enemies, and vice versa. So everyone's always going to take a 1-to-1 ratio with their turns to their enemies. But in Raid, this is different. If you got the right speeds and the right speed buffs, you could be taking 3 turns to every 1 turn your enemy takes. This is how important speed is in Raid. Especially in PvP, like the arena and tag arena, you must go first. Like, really. I know a lot of you guys are interested in go second teams because you don't want to fight with that speed meta, but you got to. Go second teams normally require much more player power to beat those go first teams, and they're usually manual normally. Okay, so it's actually really hard to build a good go second team, whereas you require much less player power to create a go first team, and it's much more consistent. So if you're farming for gold medals, then absolutely you need a good go first team. As a side note, here's Sifi, one of my unfortunate victims of re-gearing for my Infinity Clan boss team. Man, she used to be at 384 speed. We're talking gold 5, gold 4. She was always going first. Now she's only at 360. So for some of you guys, that might be really fast, but she used to be 384. She dropped 24 speed, all for that Infinity Clan boss team. But back to the topic at hand. So how do you get faster? With speed gear. Where do you get speed gear? From the Dragon's Lair. So if you're really in need of speed gear that is getting your champs faster, especially for the arena, you need to be farming that Dragon's Lair regularly or even daily. So there you go. That's my tip on how to get better speed gear. Farm the Dragon's Lair more. Just kidding. So if any of you guys are still with me at this point and you've seen my videos before, you know I wouldn't do that to you. That being said, it's probably a good idea to farm the Dragon's Lair more if you do need better speed gear. I think a lot of you out there think that your champs are just magically going to get faster. They're not. If you're not farming that Dragon's Lair more, your champs will always stay at their same speed. So yes, it's tongue-in-cheek, but yes, some of you guys do need to farm the Dragon's Lair more. So question, guys, what do you think is a good piece of speed gear? I think most of you guys are probably thinking epic or legendary with either a triple or quad roll on the speed. Here, we have a legendary piece with a triple roll on the speed. But I'm here to tell you, especially if you're early or mid game, your best pieces of speed gear are not going to be epic or legendary pieces by far. Let me try to explain why with this piece of gear. Now, this is a legendary piece of gear, but it's not a speed piece. But for the purposes of our example, let's just assume it's a speed piece. It will function exactly the same for our example. So this is a good piece of speed gear, right? Well, at least a potentially good piece of speed gear, because we have a speed substat on a legendary or epic piece here. This one being legendary. So we have 4 chances to upgrade the substats at level 4, 8, 12, and 16. My question is, what are the chances that those upgrades are going to go into the speed substat? Well, every single upgrade is going to be 1 in 4 to land on that speed substat. That being said, to have all 4 of those upgrades land on that speed substat is highly improbable. So my next question is, are there any other pieces of gear that will give us a higher chance to land that stat upgrade on that speed substat, at least better than 1 in 4? Yes, there is, and here's an example. Once again, let's assume this is a speed piece of gear because it works for our illustration. This piece of gear has a higher chance for that stat upgrade to land on that speed substat than that legendary piece of gear. So what are the chances that that stat upgrade lands on the speed substat when we upgrade this piece to level 4? Now we have a 50% chance of that stat upgrade going to that speed substat versus the previous legendary piece of gear when our chances were only 1 in 4. Now let's upgrade this piece to level 8. What are the chances that that upgrade goes to the speed substat? Once again, 50%. A lot better than that 1 in 4 chance with that legendary piece of gear. So here's the bottom line. Blue pieces of gear with a speed substat have a much higher chance of upgrading that speed substat than legendary pieces of gear when we're talking about the first 2 upgrades. Well, here's an objection. That blue pieces of gear with a speed substat can only be upgraded twice, that is to that speed substat. So at most, you're only getting a double roll on that speed substat. Whereas if you have a legendary piece of gear with a speed substat, you could possibly get a quad roll on that speed substat. Not possible with rare gear. So my answer to this would be, yes, it is true that there's higher potential with those legendary pieces of gear. Nevertheless, you should not overlook how useful those blue pieces of gear can be with that speed substat, because rolling up that speed substat is so much easier with blue pieces of gear. And honestly, how many quad rolls in speed for a speed piece of gear do you think you're going to get in your entire raid career? For me, for my legendary pieces of speed gear, I have 0 quad rolls in speed. 0. Now I have a few quad rolls in speed for other pieces of gear, I think only 2, but they do not happen that often. So don't let the potential of that quad roll in speed derail you from actually what's more probable, what's more useful to you. It's better to have a double roll in speed that comes much more likely and much more frequently than the possibility of a quad roll, which may never come depending on how long you play this game. So the next objection is, well, it may be true that with rare pieces of gear with the speed substat, you have a much higher chance of rolling that speed substat. But you know what? You need a lot more speed than potentially just a double roll in speed. Those rare pieces only at max give you that double roll in speed. You need a triple or quad roll in speed to get really fast in this game. And to that, I would say it depends. Are we talking about like Platinum Arena? Then yeah, you need a lot of gear with triple and quad speed rolls. But if we're talking like gold, maybe early gold or early mid-game progression in this game, you really don't need a ridiculous ton of speed. Single and double rolls in speed are really, really good. So my next question to you guys is, how fast do you think you can make a character in this game with all rare gear with only double rolls in speed? So guys, check out my Haikatoon here. I have her geared in all gear, mostly rare, that only has double rolls in speed. So check it out here, only double rolls, nothing is glyphed here. Now for the gauntlets here, it is an epic piece, that's all I had, but it's only a double roll. So this would be the same if it was a rare piece of gear with a double roll in speed. Same thing with the chest double roll. And of course with your speed boot, you have to bring it up all the way. To be fast, you need to bring up your speed boots all the way. And same thing here, we have a double roll in speed. So Haikatoon's total speed here is, look at that, 281 speed. If you put her in the lead with her speed aura, she's at 300 speed with only double rolls in speed, no triple or quad rolls. And think about how fast she would be if you glyphed her. Ridiculous speeds for none of her gear having triple or quad rolls in speed. So that, guys, is my strategy on how to make your champions faster. Do not overlook or underestimate the power of rare pieces of gear with speed substats. No, you do not need triple or quad rolls in speed to get exceptional speeds. You can be really, really fast with only double or single rolls in speed. Alright guys, I got a piece of gear here. Yes, it is a rare piece of gear with a speed substat, and notice when I level it up, there's so much higher chances of that upgrade landing on the speed substat than with an epic or legendary piece of gear. This is a 50-50 shot for those first 2 upgrades that it lands on that speed substat. So let's upgrade it and see what happens. Come on, speed. There's one. Last upgrade. Can we get a double roll on speed? Let's see. There you go, 16 speed. If I glyph this out, all of a sudden we're looking at over 20 speed on a level 8 rare piece of gear. So guys, don't immediately trash your rare gear, especially if it has a speed substat. Level up all your rare gear with speed substat to at least level 8, and all of a sudden, you're gonna have a lot more speed on your account. All right guys, that is it for today. I hope this strategy helps you guys out, and let me know in the comments if this strategy is new to you or if you've already known about it and have been using it. And if you guys haven't yet, like, subscribe, and share, turn on all notifications, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.